Do you know the volume of cum in a man's orgasm peaks somewhere in his 30s? I'll take from your stunned silence. You want to know more?
I do.
I don't know if I do, man.
I don't even know if that's true. I just heard that on the internet somewhere, and I was like, how do I kick off this episode? Because I'm getting real tired of saying welcome back. Intros are hard. So I was like, let's just jump right in here.
We're 3 episodes in, and he's already just hitting us with the cum facts to start the episodes. This bodes well.
I have noticed as we've gotten more comfortable, the filthier the humor gets. And preview to people that are going to be coming into the next slew of episodes, the word cuck gets said so much. I'm at the point where I feel embarrassed every time I say it. I'm like, I need cuck rehab. I need to stop saying it so much.
Go to detox.
No, man, it's like a parasite. It's like a little fucking, like that drug that people down in South America sometimes use to get rich businessmen's PIN details. It's like that. It just gets in your system.
Okay, I need to know more about that. Before that, though, we should say, Gabby, welcome to the show. This is actually the first episode that you will hear Gabby's voice on.
And, is it?
Yeah, because we did the first 3 episodes before Gabby existed. She popped into existence one day, and she was just screaming cuck on the side of the road, and we were like, let's make her a full-time podcast host.
Yeah, you know what? I was kicked out of an Andrew Tate meeting because of that.
Yeah. So. You were too intense for them, and they couldn't stand it anymore.
I was teaching them to build pipe bombs, and suddenly that was too extreme. No, get prepared to get super sick of my voice, because I think I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay until I actually kill you two and then take over the cult as my own.
Yeah, so, people that were sick of my voice from the first 3 episodes will now have something else to shift their hate onto. They're like, oh, woman, thank God.
Woman. Oh my God, what does she know? Like, well, fuck. Yeah, it's just like, oh man, she's just a fucking bitch. She's a slut, a whore. She doesn't fucking know fucking things. She just wants to show her fucking tits on the internet. Well, joke's on you.
I
this is going so well.
I told my mom about the podcast, and I gave her the Jaws 3D episode to listen to, because I was like, of the 3, I was like, this is probably the one I'm the most happy with of the first 3 that are out. And I thought I was pretty funny on it. And I was like, here, you go ahead and listen to it. And I was like, I'm going to make sure my mom doesn't listen to any other episode ever again.
No, absolutely not.
I was like, it starts out a little wholesome. And I'm like, I don't think so. She did like it. She was like,
good.
you guys speak. She was like, you speak really well. Like a real mom thing to say.
Yeah.
But she was hesitant initially. She was hesitant initially.
She's like, I don't ever think you need to speak ever again.
Yeah. Well,
don't ever talk.
I told her, I was like, it's me swearing for an hour and 30 minutes. So I don't know, but I mean, that's pretty normal. Do you guys swear in front of your parents?
No, not really.
No,
I do. Okay, so funny thing is, I never swore as a kid, but my uncle's a cop. My mom's a nurse, so apparently nurses are notorious for swearing. I don't think I've ever met a nurse who does swear, but my mom does swear a lot. My dad also swears, but he also swears on a French accent, so he swears à Galis, à tabarnak de hostie de Galis. That sort of like Quebec sort of deal. I never grew up in Quebec. I can hardly even speak French, so it's all in one ear, out the other. But going from the tone of his voice, I know he's angry. So, but I do swear in front of my parents. I think, I'm almost 30, so it's coming to the point where I can swear. I do have a word that I cannot say in front of my mother.
Ooh.
What's that?
It's
cunt?
Cunt. It's
okay, because I was gonna say that's my mom's favorite swear.
That's the best one.
My mom got her license like in her 30s, so I remember my mom's like initial bout with road rage, and she called a lot of people on the road cunts. And I'm just like 14.
No, yeah, it's one word. It's the one word, and I haven't said it in front of her yet. By mistake, but it's like one of the words, the off limit word. Doesn't matter if I'm fucking 10, 18, 45. It's one of the words I can't say. She was like, oh my God, Gabrielle, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's what I do. Yeah, because she swears too. And it's just... Yeah.
Which is funny, because having met your mom does seem very... like not a person who's swearing. In the brief interaction I have with your mom.
Oh no, she does swear. Yeah.
And Nathan, what's your excuse for not swearing in front of your parents?
I was just always a good boy. I don't know. No, honestly, it was
Does it
kind
feel
of
weird? Do you feel it like in your stomach if you swear in front of them?
Yeah. And it's not so much like things like shit is absolutely one that I'll say in front of my mom fairly normally, and it's just as like an exclamation or like saying like, oh, that sounds shitty, right? You know. But other than that, yeah, it's always just felt odd and weird, and that I'm doing something wrong. And I don't think that was ever, I don't think it was like beaten into me as a kid or anything. I think I just really internalized swearing, and I was just like, oh no, that's not for me. That's just not what I do.
No.
And I don't know why, and I don't know. It's something for a psychologist to unpack someday.
Yeah. Turns out like a authority figure scalded your penis in hot water because you said a swear word, and now you can't even think the words before having an extreme bout of PTSD.
Yeah, that was like every Tuesday though growing up, so I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's play that theme. All right. So I, of course, am Josh. You heard me on the first 3 episodes. We're also here with Nathan, who you heard on the first 3 episodes.
Heyo.
And we have Gabby, who we teased in the end of our 3rd episode as coming in for the 4th one as a guest who clearly has latched on like a feral disease.
Yeah, I'm here to stay. I always like myself to a parasite. I'm just like a tapeworm you get probably from eating some bad meat. That's just me.
But hey, we hang on to because we like the way we look.
Yeah, exactly. You get that nice parasite skinny.
Yeah. So Nathan, what's been going on with you?
Oh, well, a few things. I actually saw Barbie yesterday. Which wasn't a plan.
No
that
spoilers. If you spoil it, I'm going to be so
we're definitely going to talk. We'll definitely talk about it on the segment for movies. But yeah, I won't spoil. I'll just relay my feelings. I won't say any. I won't say any jokes or anything. I'll just relay my feelings on it.
So that was actually a product of the recent flooding we've had around here. My wife and one of our friends, they were going to do kind of like a girls' night to go see Barbie. And like 3 of the ladies that were going to go see it lived in like flood zones.
Oh, Jesus.
So they couldn't actually get into the city to do it. So I got a free ticket. I saw it. Nice. I'm definitely not the target demo, but yeah, just we'll go into more detail. But basically, it's decent. It's fun. Beyond that, I'm learning that running your own business is just doing improv comedy nonstop, because all I'm doing, I started doing a lot of networking events just to get my name out there, and it's actually gone really, really well. I love networking. I don't know why, but yeah, it's just like that.
That's sort of networking event, though.
It is. They're all like that.
You're a lesbian.
I'm sorry. I literally have. Going forward, I think people should know I literally have the humor of a 12-year-old boy. It's
true.
Yeah. It's true.
You're really bringing us down to your level too. Just to come out.
It is. It's just like, South Park is still one of my favorite like TV shows ever. I fucking love
South Park is pretty great.
Yeah. So I've been doing these networking events, and I've actually gotten a really good opportunity from one to do the YouTube videos and some of the social media videos for a language college in the city. And thank you. And so I had a meeting on Friday with the kind of the CEO, and we were kind of going over some ideas and stuff. And she's like, okay, well, just write me 2 proposals, for one for doing like YouTube and then one for doing YouTube and the other social media ones. And I'm there being like, yeah, of course, I'll get you those right away. Meanwhile, like furious on my phone, just like how to business proposal. Yes. And I just realized that that's the entirety of my life as a business owner right now is finding out about things that I have to do and then immediately trying to figure out how to do them. It's kind of fun, but also in a way I feel like the biggest dummy in the world because at some point, I feel like at some point, either my whole house of cards comes crumbling down and everyone just realizes they're just like, oh, well, he's kind of stupid. Or I fake it. I legitimately fake it until I make it. So stay tuned for more updates on that. That'll be, it'll be fun for everyone except maybe me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
how about you?
Gabby, we were working same but not the same thing. So we were both working for the Indigenous Games here in Halifax, the North American Indigenous Games, as camera people for their live streams of several sports. Gabby, how was that experience?
So you know what, it was great. I had mainly 12-hour days, which is fine. And I got to do something that I enjoy. The thing is, the way that they had their camera set up, it was something that I kind of wish we did differently, because I was right in the stands. And so every single time people would like bang and start banging and cheering and stuff like that, it'd be great. But yeah, exactly like that. I'm like trying to hang on to the camera, like, stop shaking. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but it was like really long days, and most of those time I would be standing, and it would get to a point where, because of the humidity and the extremely long amount I was standing for, like, I don't know if you can see, like, I don't think they're as bad anymore than it is now, but like my ankles got like super swollen.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, mine did too. Like the indent where my sock was like looked like I had leg wrist cuffs on all day.
I know, like it was like baseballs, like at the end of my legs. Yeah, trash rat. Get that started.
It's just even weed. It's just tobacco.
No,
because I didn't go pick up smokes.
And
I think we just need better shoes. I think it's our problem.
You know what? I started wearing my sneakers I would wear to the gym, but then as soon as I had them on, walked the door, I was like, I think these are a little bit too small for me, and that added to the swelling. Apparently, like, if your shoes don't fit you correctly, your feet swell up more, and then I have to admit, I'm not really one to work out. I used to work out quite a bit with a friend of mine, because he would go to the gym and I would go to the gym with him, and I'd suffer, but I'd be working out. But now that gym closed, and it's literally been like almost more than a year. 8 months since I actually worked out. Yeah, it's a long time. So it's just
like how it felt like more than a year, though.
It did feel more like a year, and I'm not like Nathan is like a fucking marathon runner, and I don't know what you do, trash rat. Probably scurry around the fucking sewers.
I walk a lot. Like it's common for me to just be like, oh, the hell with it. I'm just gonna go walk like 10K today just for the fun. Working at for the Indigenous Games, one camera setups can be rough because you're expected to capture everything, so you feel it every time. It's like the ball wasn't completely on screen, or any little mistake, like you just feel like you let down everybody because you're the only camera that's there. And I was also outside, so I was doing soccer. I would do soccer like all morning, and then have to get down to the university to do like another few games of basketball in the evening. So by the time I got to the basketball, I was really like done with the day. But being outside, and this week has been shit for weather. It's just been like super hot and sunny, or terrible raining, and then they don't bring the games inside unless there's thunder. So I did luck out the other day that we had to go inside because of the thunder, but that also made the day much longer because we could only do one game at a time versus two simultaneously.
Yeah. Well, at SMU, like the floors, because of the humidity, the floors start to get like slick. And so like a bunch of these athletes are like slipping and sliding all over the place. And there was like a couple times I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, like they would just wipe out. And I'm like Glass Bones Joe, like knowing if it was me, I would break something. And it's just like, man. And yeah, but it was a really cool thing to see. But I kind of wish, I'm not going to say it because I might not,
They'd upped the level of production.
Yeah, man.
I did too. I don't think that's a bad thing to say that it was. I would have liked to have given them something that was a higher quality product. But at the end of the day, multiple people bid on this as to what they were offering them, and I know the company that did it, that we worked for, sort of started small, and they would add things on until they eventually got to like, okay, this is our budget. And so what we did for them really was what their budget allotted. Because I was surprised there wasn't like sponsors and stuff. I don't know all the inner workings and the politics of it and how that goes, because it seemed like BMO was the only, so Bank of Montreal seemed to be the only sponsor of any kind, and so maybe that limits how much money is there, and I don't know where their money is coming from either. So I feel like this was what they could afford, and I think we did our best. We definitely got some good shots and streams and did a good job. So, but yeah, it would have been nice to have like multiple cameras and announcers and stuff like that, because really just for the athletes who are all kids, like to be able to go back and look at something that it kind of looks more like ESPN with the announcers and them being talked about and get close-ups of them would have been really cool to do. But at the same time, they still get to win a gold medal. I'm sure that's what they're really happy about. They don't give a shit that we were filming them.
It's also like for like the people who, because like live streaming, it's like for their family at home who couldn't come and see them like perform like in person, so they get to see them at least on stream. And and
there was quite a few people watching a lot of the times. There'd be a few hundred people for some of those games. So yeah, it was good. It was a good experience. First basketball game I worked, a kid threw up on the court. So as a lover of Jackass, I was really upset I couldn't film that because it was a lot. Because they had like the big canister of like water, but then Buddy also had like Gatorade mix that people were putting in it. So this kid just like projectile vomited orange Gatorade right onto the court. And I wasn't looking at him. I realized the camera, I like checked the camera after and I was like, okay, good. I wasn't like holding on him because I wasn't looking at what the camera was seeing. I was just looking at him throwing up. And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I went back and checked it. And I was like, okay, good. I didn't get any of that. But he was standing right in front of the table where the people that were keeping score were. And in the video, you can see like he's about to throw up on them. And the coach just moves him to the side and he throws up next to the table.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, whenever like I live stream sports, I try not to show like the athletes who like really wipe out and like get really hurt. I'm just like,
they're kids. Yeah. There's a time and place for it. Cause I know like the hockey at St. Mary's, they wanted to show all the fighting and injuries. Like you didn't cut away from that. But anything else I've done, like you said, like for this, if somebody gets hurt, you just move the camera over a bit or like, I worked games with really younger kids where like someone would get hurt and start crying and you're in like a gym with not a lot of people in it. So I just shut the stream off.
Yeah.
I really wish more professional sports were like that, where they didn't show the injury. Like I'm a big football guy and it's awful. If there's an injury, you were watching Fox or ESPN, they'll show it from like 6 different angles. And they'll be like, and you can see where his tibia just snaps right off and flies into the stands. And they're like, why would you show me this? This is disgusting. And now all I have to worry about is my tibia flying off. Thank you, Fox Sports. Yeah. So yeah,
of course it's Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what, like, being a little serious here, like I think it was great to see like a bunch of pan-Indigenous cultures coming together and sort of interact. And I think a lot like coming from, because I think people see this before my first episode, so like I went up to Eskazoni up in Sydney for my work term, and I got to meet a lot of amazing people. I got to meet a basketball coach, John Danny Sillaboy, and I get to see him. We got to just chat about his life and how basketball sport has sort of, like helped him, like go through the motions of life, helped him give back to his community, and you get to see like these are people who use sport or use aspects of their culture to help heal within their own community, and I think it's great. I think it's beautiful, and I liked that I was a part of that, but I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm a fucking white savior. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just the person who held the camera and let John Denny sort of like.
I know exactly what you mean, because I was super happy to be a part of it, but yeah, there is like another aspect where I'm like, I'll just stand aside. I'll just be the dude. I don't need to like get in any spotlight or anything. I just want to be the dude holding the camera.
Yeah,
thank you, Gabby. Thank you for showing our audience an early sneak peek of the oscillation that this show has between 12-year-old dick jokes and actual thoughtful things. And it's one of those weird roller coaster things, and I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised at both of them.
We're just complicated people. That's what it
is.
Yeah. I'm an asshole, but I'm an asshole with a heart of gold.
Yeah. And if I can,
what's the weirdest place you guys have ever had sex?
Yeah. Both you guys, can you both show me your penises real quick?
God.
Oh, YouTube's not gonna like that.
Yeah.
If I can counterpoint your both of your thoughtful comments on that though, they're all teenagers, and I'm supposed to be free of teenagers from the summer. I live like a stone's throw from this, and the biggest high school in the city, and the damn teenagers are always there from September to May, and I'm supposed to have a break. They're supposed to be gone. They're supposed to be back out in the suburbs or wherever teenagers lurk during the summer. And now I've got all these teenagers here, so I am against everything.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan's Nathan's out there like in a rocking chair, like, oh, you kids.
Yeah. My rocking chair. I got my shotgun, my "Don't Tread on Me" flag, which is weird because I live in an apartment building. I do not own my own land.
No. But yeah, it's such like an important thing that a lot of Indigenous people, get to perform their culture outside. Like, not saying that they're limited or anything any of the way. It's just it's nice and refreshing to see, the embrace of, especially like outside of Indigenous communities, like embracing of like sport and using it to, build up Indigenous culture. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm white. Okay.
I think I know what you mean. Is that our everyday, like, it's almost surprising that in our everyday we don't encounter it more. Because they were here first, that it should be highlighted more. Like, it's usually like, you can learn pretty much any language in high school except for Mi'kma'ki, despite the amount of people that, could do with learning it or speak it here kind of thing. So I do see what you're saying, that like being able to be part of this like really like huge event that's about it really changes your perspective on things, and it opens you up to other cultures, and it's nice.
Yeah. And, just to say, because I'm in Spryfield. Trash Rat is probably in some flooded basement in Halifax.
I didn't flood. I'm at I'm high above the water line. So nice. I didn't get flooded down here, but I know some people did. Yeah.
But it's also like, I've noticed now, like a lot of people know, like, I think we should also acknowledge that we are on Mi'kma'ki, the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. So I have to throw that in there. And now we can, I guess, go back to the dick jokes.
But we can, especially when it comes to talking about what we've been watching on TV.
I know. Let's finally get into that segment of what have we been watching. The
segment, it came from TV.
Sheesh, 40,000 channels and only 150 of them have anything good on.
Theme. Bam. All right. We'll start with Gabby. Gabby, I assume, is the one who's the most ravenous to talk about what's been on TV or what shows you've been watching.
So I'm that sort of people who will have like a roster of shows that I watch, and I continuously,
That's
once it
most
comes
people
out
nowadays.
Yeah, it's just like, so I've been watching. I actually binge watched this TV show last week. It's a really good like mystery, almost like supernatural mystery show. It's called Dark Winds. It's on AMC, but I watch it through Shudder, and it's basically about, so I think back in like the early 2000s there was originally this show called Skinwalkers, and it has Adam Beach, which is Canadian. I fucking love that dude. He's now doing his own reality TV show,
which is Canadian, like he's a robot.
He is Canadian.
It's Canadian acting robot.
Yeah, he is. But like, he's been doing his own thing. I think he's on like he hosts this game show that I think people would build wooden structures from. It's like this weird thing. I have no idea, but anyways, this TV show Dark Winds, I think, is like a offshoot of that. And anyways, it's set on a Dene, also known as Navajo reservation, and it's just like this nonstop like crime after crime after crime, and it starts off with like this big like helicopter heist, and I was like, okay, this fucking grasped me now, but now and then it moves on to like this murder, and it's interesting to see because like one of the main characters, Sheriff Leaphorn, he's from the tribal police, but he's played by Zane McLaren, who's like he was in Fargo. You know, if he's in a lot of Native American parts because he is Native American, but he's like it was such a refreshing take, because you would think of like a sheriff that's in like the 1970s. It's set in the 1970s, I should have said, but you would expect like, man, like fucking masculinity, but it's just like a refreshing thing. Like
James Brolin in the car, like a white dude with a mustache and feathered hair. Yeah.
No, it's actually refreshing because like he plays like such a complex character where he's so like devoted to like finding like the end of this case, but he's actually pretty present in his home life, and he does show emotion. Like there was a couple times where he sheds tears, and I'm like also crying alongside him because I'm like, oh my god, because like it's also like refreshing to see like a male character cry.
There's been a lot more of that in TV stuff, and a lot more positive male role models. Because I was going to talk about like Ted Lasso finished, and that was a show I was really into. And I'm like, I feel like a bunch of my show, like Ted Lasso and Barry, both ended, and now I'm just lost. I don't know if you guys watched either of them, and you really should, because they're both.
I've watched short. Barry. I watched Barry. Barry's great.
Barry's amazing. I loved how it ended. I don't know if you've seen the ending yet. Nathan, have you watched Barry or Ted Lasso?
I have not watched either of those. No.
Yeah, I definitely recommend them. Ted Lasso is like a really good feel-good show, but then doesn't get too schmaltzy that like the emotions feel unreal. Like they do feel very real, even though like when you watch the first episode, it's like, okay, dude with a bunch of like folksy like sayings and stuff, and then as it goes on and you learn more about the people in it, it becomes more real. So yeah, it's a really enjoyable show. And then Barry, just some of the funniest dark humor I think I've ever seen in my life. Like every season hit it out of the park. And I mean, I love. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Bill Hader is like, he fucking struck me as like, I didn't really expect him to be like such a, like an amazing actor, but he just sort of like hit it out of the park with Barry. I was just like,
comedy actors have a really easy time transitioning to drama, it seems, and I think it's because they're used to being so big. It's like they don't have to get as big to play something realistically emotional, and it's the same with Ted Lasso with
Jason Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis, yeah, they're both SNL alumni.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think.
What about you, Nathan? What are you watching? We're taking over the conversation. Well, or Gabby, you go ahead. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Go ahead, Gabby.
First, I'll say I kind of knew what you were feeling, Trash Rat, because like I finished Succession. I was watching it with a friend of mine, and we just finished Succession, and I was lost in the dark. I was like, "What the fuck am I gonna watch right now?" Because like that just sort of took up all of my Sundays. Because like every Sunday night, like or Monday evening, my friend and I we would watch it. We'd be like, "Oh man, what the fuck are the Roy siblings up today?" So, anyways.
I've got 2 shows on the go at the moment. Generally, my wife and I watch shows together. We don't really. She has Bake Off that she watches without me, and a couple of other things. Because I'm actually not a very good television show watcher. I like television shows, but I will get to the middle of shows that I'm enjoying, and then I'll just like they'll just kind of fall off for me because I'll get watching something on YouTube or that kind of thing, and I'll forget to go back to them. So I'm a bad television watcher. I'm much better with movies where I can just sit, watch the movie, and then I've watched the movie. But I've got, we've been doing a rewatch of Seinfeld, which is not a show that we had watched since childhood, basically. And my God, I love that show so much. That I am a child of the 90s. I'm a 20th century guy. I know I've lived more of my life in the 21st century, but my God, I just like Seinfeld is like home. It's like being home for me. I love that show so much.
No,
it's still laugh out loud.
I watched it. I watched it with my parents. Same with like Friends. It was like that and Friends. Like I'm not like a huge Friends fan, but like I'm not a person that just like shits on it for the reason just to shit on Friends. It's like, I don't know. I watched it as a kid. Like I've got some fond memories of it. I think about things from whatever once in a while and laugh. But Seinfeld was definitely one that I watched with my parents. And I find I'm going back and revisiting shows getting shows from the 90s that I didn't watch then. Like I kind of grew up with the mindset that like, oh, Buffy's for girls. And so I started watching that with my girlfriend. So we're watching Buffy and Angel. So like I don't know if it's airing order or chronological order. So we flip back and forth between Buffy and Angel. And I'm almost done that. I think the most recent episode of Buffy that I saw was the musical one. So it was the first time I had ever seen that. So that was pretty fun.
Nice.
Very sexual episode. Like really horny. It was really surprising. I was like, even for Buffy, this is some of the most like blatant innuendo they've ever done. And then people just like going down on each other off screen. I was like, this is insane. Wow. You watched Buffy? You don't remember that?
Okay, I've watched a couple episodes of Buffy.
You haven't actually watched Buffy?
No.
Oh God.
Not all the way through.
Wow.
Yeah,
I saw the odd one growing up.
I remember talking to you about Buffy in school, and you just fucking played it off like you watched it all. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no. The only really like 90s show I kind of watched was The X-Files.
Oh, X-Files great.
It's a fun show.
Yeah, I love The X-Files, man. Oh, mainly because of who I'm talking about.
What? Oh, the cigarette smoking man. the raw sexuality of the cigarette smoking man.
Sexuality. Oh yeah, when he pulls out the cigarette, man, it just makes me go. Just makes me go. Wait 1 second. Wait. I'm not flexible. Just makes me go.
But yeah, sorry, I get what you're saying. Fox Mulder and Dana Scully, like it's a show built for bisexuals. You get two
Dana Scully for me. I don't know. It's just Fox Mulder was me. Not really my type.
That's fair.
Yeah, but Dana Scully, holy shit.
Yeah.
Do you remember the X-Files movie they put out a few years ago? Maybe it's more than a few years now.
Was that the one with like the child molester?
Was it 2000? No, there was another X-Files movie that came out.
No, they did 2 seasons. They did 2 new seasons because there's only 2 movies.
Was there only 2 movies?
Yeah, okay. There's Fight the Future and I Want to Believe. And I Want to Believe.
Okay, I Want to Believe was
that's the one with the child molester played by Billy Connolly.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such a weird, and it feels low budget. It
does, right? I saw that in theaters.
And as I can see, we've segued right into our next segment, Extreme Energy.
Who gives a fuck about movies?
All right, so here's where we can talk about new movies, old movies, talk about just whatever movies are going on. But yeah, so we're already talking about an X-Files movie. I did not like X-Files, I Want to Believe. There are certain things I like about it. but I feel like any kind of low point in the X-Files, there seems to be like, why doesn't someone just shoot Mulder? Like, it just seems like they keep wanting to be like, oh no, it's fine. Mulder's out of the picture. Everything's fine. Oh shit, he's back again. It's the thing that always bothers me about the kind of the like downswings of X-Files is that they have so much going on and there's so much at stake, and then it's like, oh well, now there's a child molester that might have a psychic connection. Let's deal with this for a full theatrical release movie.
Yeah. I don't remember much of it. I remember watching it and being like, huh, and then just switching on something else.
Yeah,
it was that kind of a movie. I did enjoy the way that they had Mulder and Scully's kind of relationship, how they handled that, where, you know, they had lost a child and stuff. Like they was, because the show was always the will they won't they kind of thing, and this is like here's the tragic aftermath of the will they, which I enjoyed. But
there's a good play called like Good Morning Juliet, Good Night Desdemona or something.
I read that. Yeah,
it's like Romeo and Juliet, and I forget what the other one is. Like If It Worked Out, and now it's shitty. It sucks. But it's sort of that. I like the first X-Files movie though. Fight the Future is a lot of fun because it really is one of those like, oh, we have all this money to spend on this amount of time. It's very much, it might as well have called it X-Files, It's a Movie, because everything is just amped up. Like the music's amped up, everything blows up, like there's helicopters every 5 minutes, like all the money's on the screen and it's appreciated.
Yeah.
But what's anything that you guys have watched recently? Well, we're obviously going to talk about Barbie, so we'll let Gabby take the lead here before we talk about Barbie.
I'm just fucking trying to think of what I watched recently. I've been watching just a lot of TV. Let me see. Oh, I rewatched The Lost Boys, which was like
I watched The Lost Boys this morning at like 4 a.m. because I couldn't sleep.
Nice. Yeah, I fucking love The Lost Boys, dude. It's just like, it's one of those things. I know. It's one of the things that I watched with my mom, and we can't find anything else to watch. It's like, let's put on The Lost Boys, because it's like, it's such a fun fucking time. You know, it's just a lot of those things from the movie. You know, like the fucking brother who is fucking hilarious. Like, my brother's a shit-sucking vampire. I can't believe
that was
it.
The part I was going to bring up when just the brother dynamic of like he's not necessarily scared of him initially. It's the like, I'm going to tell mom like thing. Like,
exactly.
I loved that. That's really funny. And just movies up to a certain point, like before CGI is overused, you know, there's a lot of like set design where the vampires live. It looks really cool and stuff.
I wanted to live there,
there's a lot of great stuff like that. Oh yeah, no, I wanted to, and then all I could think about was like, I have rats in my apartment. I can only imagine what that fucking dilapidated hotel is like.
Yeah. Also, like this sexy, like oiled up saxophone player, like
he was Tina Turner's saxophone player. I looked him up because I was curious about him. Yeah, he's only in like a couple movies, and he was in the show Reservation Dogs, which I've never watched, but he was in like one episode of that. But yeah, he was a Tina Turner saxophone player. That's his whole deal. But yeah, he's a very distracting part of the movie
because he's just like dripping in sweat and oil.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Joel Schumacher, so.
I keep forgetting it's Joel Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher, yeah. Like if there's like 2 women in the whole fucking movie, but like the way men are shot in that movie, the way men are objectified in Joel Schumacher movies is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Also, like all like the vampires, like they all look so cool. I'm just like,
they do. Well, a lot of mullet stuff going on.
With,
like, and I mean, Kiefer Sutherland has like the restrained mullet. Yeah, it almost looks like the way people do mullets now because there's a difference to them. But Alex Winter from Bill and Ted, he's got like the real greasy mullet.
That is like the like curly head and then like just the curls, the ringlets,
the long ringlets. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah,
Man.
I watched that. I went on like a little kick of just sort of comfort movies because I was like kind of feeling tired and I was like, well, I'll just throw something on and fall asleep to it. So I like shut the lights off. I've got blackout curtains, put on Romancing the Stone, watched the whole fucking thing. Didn't even lay down. I sat on the edge of my bed and watched all of Romancing the Stone. I don't know if either of you guys watched Romancing the Stone before?
I haven't.
No.
Oh, you definitely should. So it's Kathleen Turner is she writes romance novels. She's a romance novelist, and her sister gets kidnapped by these guys in Colombia that want a treasure map that was mailed to her. So she has to take it to,
in this?
Yeah, Danny DeVito's one of the bad guys. He's one of the two brothers that are like the bad guys. So Kathleen Turner has to take the map. She's like this sort of frumpy shut-in who just writes romance novels. She has to go to Colombia, and then she meets Michael Douglas, who's an American, and he's like they're trying to capture like exotic birds for money, and they go on this like Indiana Jones style adventure, and it's a romantic comedy as well. But it's the guy who made Back to the Future. It's Robert Zemeckis. Yeah. So it's a Robert Zemeckis movie before he became obsessed with fucking mocap animated movies. But it's a perfect movie, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's on Disney Plus right now. That's where I watched it.
Nice.
So, but it's also, super awesome movie.
The image that they have for Michael Douglas on Google is not nice. He looks like the
what
fucking crypt. It's like this weird,
like just like the basic image for him. I mean, he is fighting cancer that he got from eating pussy, so that's what he says happened. He said he got like mouth or throat cancer, and he said he got it from going down on women. I don't know what validity there is to that, but he said that for sure. That's a quote.
Maybe I should
invest in dental dams.
Yeah. Did he think like it was like a fucking like nuclear reactor, like Madame like Curie like has like fucking radon or like radioactive substances down there?
Yeah.
It's like an X-ray, but he's like he's too close to the X-ray.
No, my girlfriend was getting a lot of X-rays that month, and I shouldn't have went in there. They told me to wait, but it's that residual stuff. Yeah. No. Oh fuck.
My God.
But yeah, I watched that. I watched Adventures in Babysitting. I watched Father of the Bride. I watched a bunch of weird stuff, and then Lost Boys. I just sort of went through a bunch of those for older stuff. But then I also went and saw Barbie, which was difficult because I was like, oh yeah, we'll just walk down to the theater that's near me and get tickets. Completely fucking sold out. We had to book tickets at the theater up in Bears Lake and like take a bus up there, and it was right after the major storm, like the major thunderstorm we had. So it was the time of day around like 7 o'clock. It just stopped. The rain just stopped. Maybe over in Dartmouth it was still going, but it was like everything stopped. It was super nice. We went to go see the movie, but it was also a completely sold out show. And Nathan, you also went and saw Barbie. How many people were dressed in pink at your showing?
Quite a few.
Because at mine, there was a lot. There was a whole shitload of people in Barbie cosplay coming out of the theater as we were going in with a whole bunch of other fucking feral pink dressed motherfuckers.
What was the demographics like for yours? Because for mine, it was a lot of children.
I went at 10:30 at night. It was all adults.
Okay,
there was like there was maybe two teenagers. There was like a kid. There was like a teenage boy with his mom in my row. And that was probably the youngest person I saw. And I was like, they're maybe 15, 16. And that was it. But other than that, it was all adults.
There were a couple of like 8-year-olds about 2 rows down from us that by the end of the movie had so many questions for their parents.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. Again, no spoilers. I don't want to say any lines. I don't want to ruin any jokes.
It's not a kid's
or
movie,
anything.
though.
So we won't say that.
Yeah.
It's really not. It really is. But I think it is at the same time. Like, I think for younger people, it's sort of one of those, like, I think people like junior high age and up will get it. Like, but I think as flashy and campy as it is below that age, it might not make a whole lot of sense to them because even the jokes sort of are really more adult or not necessarily adult in like that they're all sexual or anything, but they're require a lot of adult knowledge about the world for your context clues. So there's kind of the silliness is really only appreciated by adults, and being a very young kid, you might not get it. So
yeah, I empathized more with the Kens than I wanted to. But they all seem like a lot of fun.
That's the
point, I wanted to hang out with them. Yeah,
they want men to empathize with the Kens and the arc that they go through. because I think it's all part of the movie and the story of like, who am I, and being judged, and your misconceptions of the world. Like, it's crazy how
the movie got huge themes of soul searching kind of for everyone in that film, but it's an odd movie, and I think depending, it really is going to be what demographic you fall under as to what you take away from that film. Because my wife and her female friends that saw it, they were all they loved it, right? And I think they're the perfect demographic for it, which is kind of like 30-ish odd women. And for me, I was just like, okay, like this is fine. The Kens are fun and silly, and like I would like to hang out with them. But yeah, like I don't think I connected with it in the same way, which is fine because it's really not made for me. I just got to see it.
Yeah, it's made for the girls and the gays.
Well, I think I connected with it a bit more on some different levels. I've after like I've watched a couple of like documentaries about the making of Barbie, and then there's a recent one, I forget what it's called, but there's a recent one about when they went through a massive rebranding several years ago. There's like a recent documentary about that, and that kind of delves into some of the history and about the people that are working there now. It is really good. Yeah, I'll find the name of it. But I've just been really interested in the psychology and the cultural impact of Barbie just from that standpoint. So I was already prepared for there to be a lot of like themes and stuff that are geared towards people who are both playing with Barbies now and did at one time play with Barbies, and how that affected their worldview and stuff. So I was pretty pumped for that. But then also, all the stuff with the Kens was hilarious, and I loved it, and I love camp. So that was all really great for me. So I had a great time at it. And I won't say what it is, but the very last line in the movie was the one where there was the most audible laugh from half the audience, from just the women in the audience. It was like this audible laugh that happened right as the credits rolled.
Not to spoil it, but the little girls two rows down, that was one of the questions.
Oh, I figured,
and I was like, oh, that's a conversation for the car ride home. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
Oh man. Yeah. But
who had Barbies as a kid?
Who had them? I didn't have any, but I went to daycare, so I definitely like played with them at certain times because there would just be this weird mishmash of toys from the last kind of 15, 20 years. And a lot of my friends when I was growing up were girls, so I also played with them in that sense as well. I never owned any of my own. I never had any large dolls. Like G.I. Joes weren't that tall when I was a kid anymore, and there really wasn't anything like that for boys. The biggest toys for boys were probably Transformers, if and that and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I never did, but I would go to my grandparents. My grandparents had a big old farmhouse, and it had toys from like previous generations going back forever. And so there were Barbies there, and there was quite a collection of them. And I think I might have played with them as like a small child, like 2 or 3 years old. And then my uncles started making fun of me for it. So then I didn't. I only played with manly action figures after that. Yeah. So.
Oh, look at this little fucking queer. Look at him playing with a naked woman. Look at him playing with a naked woman doll, the fucking queer. Here, take this He-Man doll and make a man out of you.
Josh, are you like self-projecting there?
No, I never had anybody say that.
No, Josh is my uncle.
The worst that
he knows.
Yeah, Josh is your uncle.
There.
Yeah.
I think the worst I ever got of like some like kind of manliness being questioned was I wanted a red bicycle helmet. My dad wouldn't get me a red bicycle helmet.
Really?
That was red was too queer apparently in 95 or whatever the fuck it was. But yeah, I couldn't have a red bicycle helmet. That's an acceptable color. I think I got one that was like, oddly enough, baby blue, but with flames on it was my first bicycle helmet. Right. So yeah. But it's still like a weird sky blue. Like the flames might as well have been clouds. So I don't think it was better. But yeah, no, I never had that interaction of someone being like, "Don't play with Barbies." Again, because it was the only time I interacted with them was at like a daycare kind of thing, and everybody played with everything to create huge 10 years of Marvel movies worth of storyline, to play together kind of thing. But I always loved the aesthetic of it, and of like Polly Pocket, like 90s pink shit. Like I always liked the aesthetic of it. So I was always super into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole like Mighty Max Polly Pocket era. Yeah. Oh yeah. I loved those little tiny scale things.
Oh, I had
they were
those.
so good.
I had a bunch of Polly Pockets.
Yeah. Yeah. I had the Mighty Max, of course, because again,
did you have a bunch of Barbies, Gabby, or were you a gem girl?
You know what? My mom got me some Barbies, and I remember one Christmas I was super sick, and my mom she had like the Nutcracker Barbie for me. She had it all nicely spread out. She had her own personal, like those nutcrackers you'd have for Christmas decorations. And I just projectile vomited over the whole fucking thing. It was just
like out of pure disgust, or
no, like, it was just like it was super sick.
The
and it was
fear
just,
that a fat man had snuck into your room overnight. Like,
yeah, it was just like, and then it's just like. My mom put me back to bed, and my poor parents had to clean up the fucking vomit all over the Christmas stuff. But besides that, I did have Barbies. I did, but I also did play. Like I had a friend. We used to live like right next to each other, and we would play with everything. But this is why I think my parents convinced that if I guess I didn't succeed in life or something, I'd be a serial killer. I don't fucking trash rat this, but
skipped a lot of in between stuff that you could be. Just went right for serial killer.
Yeah, no, it's just like I used to tie up my Barbies.
Whoa,
you did tell me this, yes.
Yeah, and I used to hang them up by their ankles and all that stuff, and just like fucking hang them up from the faucet and turn the faucet on and.
So little Gabby was playing like Saw with her Barbies.
Yeah, it was.
That's terrifying. A little bit.
Yeah, for my parents. They're like, oh my God.
Did they ever have to just like, would they just walk into a room and there's just like 5 Barbies like lynched from the ceiling, and they're just like, nope, and just turn around and leave?
I would think so. My parents were like, just walk in, close the door, and just walk away, and just hope it just sorts itself out.
It's a phase, we hope. Yeah.
I never did any weird things with my toys, but when I was working at Value Village, at one point, a whole collection of like porcelain dolls, like fucking Annabelle looking fucking, like Victorian garb porcelain dolls came in. They're like, I don't know, like a foot high.
I had two.
Yeah. So a shitload of those came in at Value Village one time. And I was like, well, I got to do something with these. So I set up a tableau of them that made it look like there was like a bunch of them standing around watching another one ritualistically sacrifice another. So I like taped a screwdriver into its hand, and it was stabbing the other one, and all the other ones had their arms raised up like they were cheering. And I set this up at one of the workstations out back where like all the donated shit comes in and they process all of it. So I set it up on that workstation and I was like, this is so funny, taking pictures with my shitty flip phone, whatever existed at the time, and then left. And the next day I got in so much shit. The person it was like all old women that worked out back. So they were, of course, very personally offended and took it as a personal threat that these dolls were ritualistically sacrificing the other one. The funny thing to me was they didn't get mad at like the hour and a half of time I stole setting it up.
They just got mad at the whole like situation of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. I had 2 of those. Okay. My uncle gave them to me. They freaked me out so fucking much that I had to, literally, in the house that I grew up in, there was I had like a walk-in closet, and then like right behind it was like this like weird like storage area that you'd open up. So what I did is like I just put them in there. There was like a plastic drawer in that little cubby, put them in the drawer, put that little thing, close my like closet door. I was not there for it. They had like those like beady eyes that just like,
oh yeah,
there was nothing in them, but also like they were watching your every they're watching me.
Yeah. So I've never owned one of these, thankfully, because I would have done what you did, but a few years ago, my wife and I were doing this big hike. It's the rails to trails kind of pathways up around the Annapolis Valley and stuff for folks in the know. And we would, walk 20, 30 kilometers a day. And then we would stop and stay in a little bed and breakfast or a motel or whatever. And the first proper day, we hiked up to Kentville, and we stayed at this kind of bespoke old bed and breakfast. It's very fancy. And so we get in, and the guy's there, and he's got like a bunch of big dogs and stuff, and we're just like, oh, that's interesting for a bed and breakfast. And so we go up, and he shows us to our room, and our room was straight out of a horror movie. No television, firstly, which is a cardinal sin for me, because when I'm dead after walking for a whole day, all I want to do is turn my brain off and watch Bar Rescue. But the room
great show, by the way.
Don't take the ice out with a glass.
The room had no less than a dozen of these dolls, all like pointed so that they're on three sides looking at the bed.
And you stay there.
This is how we die.
Looking at the bed,
yeah.
This is how we die. And what else? Other choice did we have? Right? We get in and it's late. We're tired, and we're just, oh no. And
you're like
it was the worst
for a horror show, like a horror movie. You're just like you're like the first couple who goes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we were that couple. We were the ones that, you were just like, oh, are we going to be following these people? And you're like, no. These people are the example of what's not going to happen to your main antagonist. Yeah.
You should have had protagonist eye contact with the dolls.
Yeah. We turned off.
You gotta establish dominance so that they don't try to kill you in your sleep.
I was just so happy that we had our phones, and we always bring like one of those noise apps, so you have white noise when you sleep, because the last thing I wanted to do was sit in dead silence and just wait for one of those fuckers to start skittering around the room. So I assume they did it, we just didn't hear it. And we were, as soon as we left, we were like, we're never ever coming back here. It was terrifying.
That's funny. I don't think I've ever had like a too strange of an experience like staying anywhere. Like I've stayed in Airbnbs that were pretty normal and most hotels and stuff. So I don't feel like I've ever had that like really bad hotel experience or bed and breakfast experience most people have. I want to go stay in a place that people claim is haunted, because I just don't give a shit.
Yes.
Like I've only ever had one experience in my life that I would say is like, oh, that's about as close to like ghost shit as I can get. And I was living in a house. Gabby, you go, and then I'll tell my ghost story.
No, you go first. You go first. After you, we're Canadians. Okay.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. So I was living in a house with 4 other people. So there was like 5 of us living in this house, and I happened to find myself being the only one there. It was like Canada Day. Everyone was like out getting like supplies or whatever. Maybe it was the day before. But, I was there by myself, bright summer sunny day, like 1:00 in the afternoon. And I was like, got into my little summer outfit and wanted to take a picture of myself. And I'm in the living room, and I'm like spinning around trying to find like a good like light angle. And then I saw someone behind me in the camera, and I thought it was one of my roommates, and it kind of looked like them. And I just like jumped, and I was like, you fucker. And I turned around, no one there. No one in the corner, completely blank corner. And I just like took my beer and was like, well, I'm going to go sit on the steps until people get home. See you later. And then after that, where my room was, the house was huge. And so the front door to the house went directly into my bedroom, because my bedroom was just this like added on living room. And there was a side door that everyone used for everything else. And so I just had a French door that I had like this old YouTube banner that my mom had that I hung over the window so people couldn't look in at me. But I would have it open a lot of the time, and I'm just sitting there, and then it would look like someone was like looking around the corner of my door, like trying to get my attention. And I'd just be like, yeah, what's up? And there'd be no one there.
Oh my God.
And that happened for a while. And then all of us just got really into drugs and partying nearly every day of the week, because we all were on different shift schedules.
Oh my
we
God.
all had different friend groups. So nearly every day of the week was like a party until 4 a.m. There was literally not a moment in this house where someone wasn't fucking wide awake and raging on drugs. And the ghosts just left. I think they couldn't deal with it anymore.
They're just like,
the lights are on all the time. Fuck. Like they couldn't get any good spooking in, so they just
they're just like, fuck this. Anyways,
so that's why I'm not afraid of ghosts.
No.
You're just too much for the ghosts.
It's too much. Too much.
Oh.
So I used to work at a video store in Halifax. It was pretty well known. It's Video Difference.
Video Difference.
Oh man, it's just it was fucking staple, dude. I like a day doesn't go by where I fucking miss it. Anyways, it was like always late night, so I used to close the store at 1 a.m. And I think it was like one time, like I was closing. You're usually there by yourself, with the exception of some drunk guy from Freeman's coming in to buy cigarettes, because we also sold cigarettes, which was, I think a smart business move because we were like right next to a bar. Anyways, there was like this like couple like security cameras. Some weren't working, some were, Anyways, I see like this black like smudge on the camera that's like all the way up on the third floor. I was like, what's that? And then I was like, okay, like that's weird. And it was just there, like just continuously there. And I go up, nothing was there. Go back down. I was like, oh, it must be a smudge on the camera. I go in the next day, same camera, no smudge. It was like this like black, like the thing like sometimes you see like in The Ring where it's like a black evil force like coming through the TV. Saw that apparently there's like some other people who would work there who would also like see some ghostly things as well. But
Which is funny because
any
of my after midnight experiences at Video Difference were just loud, like 8-bit chiptune music, and guys being like, "Dude, you gotta rent Necromantic. It's crazy fucked up."
I was a person who would play Bauhaus.
Nice.
I'm an ex-goth. Okay, I'm still hugely into goth shit. So like Bauhaus, Tom Waits, like Courtney Love, all the fucking time.
I love Courtney Love.
And I would always put on like Tom Waits as the end of the night. It was just constantly, every single time. I would always get like this weird like feeling, because I'm not really afraid of the dark. Like I can go into a dark room and it's fine, but like every time like I had to shut off all the lights, I would always make a huge like fucking book it for the stairs, because I would just get like this weird feeling like I was never really alone up there. Anyways, it's an old building and it's just really creepy.
Nice.
Anyways.
I actually used to run a ghost hunting club, so I have way too many ghost stories, but I enjoy this. I like you guys sharing ghost stories here. I think this is a good subject for us.
I think the only other adjacent one I'll tell is about young scamp Josh. So when I was 11, I drew up like 15, 20 posters for my own ghost like busting business, and put them in people's like mailboxes and stuff.
You were serious.
One person did come to the door, and I just remember the look on the dude's like just smiling at me as like I handed to him and told him about it. But yeah, that's one of Josh's scamp stories. I was up to
Did he touch you, Josh?
Try to start my no.
Oh, it was so wholesome, and you had to ask.
No. Yeah,
I love that story, Josh. That is a very lovable scamp story.
Yeah,
very wholesome.
But if we do get like a big like traction of viewers, if anyone wants us to explore haunted houses, I would be so fucking down.
I still have all my ghost hunting equipment. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I even have a Geiger counter in case you want to check your genitals for radioactivity.
I'm just so full of uranium, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I just keep my phone in my underwear in the hopes that I do become sterile, and then just it won't matter anymore, because I don't want kids. Everyone's like, don't keep your phone in your pocket, and fucking it's gonna kill all your sperm. And I'm like, good. I don't care.
Damn.
All right. I think we've come to the moment in the show where we're gonna have to hit the rewind button and talk about the previous, well, in this case, episodes. All right.
So Gabby, I thought you did great on the first 3 episodes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I know.
Silent like a woman should be.
Oh, I know. So silent. I was there, but I was not allowed to speak.
Yeah, she was actually just hovering over us. It was really creepy, like on the ceiling, head turned around the wrong way, vomiting. So
again,
the fact that you
vomiting.
didn't hear any
Why
of that
was I surprised about the Christmas thing? I've seen you vomit so many times now. But
wait, did I vomit at that?
So where do we want to start with this? We could either well, actually, Gabby, have you listened to all of the 3 episodes or just like gleamed them?
I've gleaned them. I'm not gonna lie, I have just gleaned them.
That's fine. But because I'm trying, like, we don't have an audience to draw on from if there's something we got wrong. So you would be the person to know if there's something that we were wrong about, but you didn't listen to them. What is your experience with those 3 movies, if you have any at all?
So, I do follow this YouTube channel called Dead Meat on YouTube. And anyway, he does like a kill count of a lot of films, and he did do one for Jaws 3D and Chopping Mall, and it's just sort of like rewatching them. Chopping Mall looks like a fucking crazy ride because there's
great.
just
it's worth watching. It's
and it's just the idea of like Jaws is like having continuous sequels, even though like for like the first one you're just like it's a done story. The shark is dead, and then you have like family of the shark getting revenge, and like going to fucking SeaWorld, like on top of it. It's just like SeaWorld is also a depressing realm of existence. Like you look at those
orcas. About that in the episode.
The orcas look like they want to like they yearn to be free, and then they're not.
And then anytime on TikTok where there's like someone takes a drone and flies it over marine land or something, and you just see no one there and a sad orca by itself, I skip. I can't watch it. I've already been an advocate for taking them away to sanctuaries or whatever. Like I hate it.
Yeah, it's we have our own SeaWorld here in Canada. It's Marineland.
Yeah. Which everyone loves, according to the Marineland.
Except for the orcas,
that's how programmed we are.
I've been hearing that same jingle since I was, I think, in the womb. I think they used that same jingle. Yeah, and I think they still do.
Really capitalist parents, they held the headphones up to the belly to program you before you came out.
Yeah.
Or they just really like Marine World.
Yeah.
And did you look up anything from trucks? Did you look up any scenes from trucks or anything like that?
No, I'm bad. I'm bad at doing my own homework. Okay, you know? Okay, I don't stepping for shit. Okay, I just take it as it goes.
No, there's 2 scenes from trucks that I will find after this podcast and send to you, and you will fucking be like, holy fucking shit.
So I do know that like with trucks, like is it like just like this like one like remote control truck, or am I insane?
There is. We talk about that for a while in the episode. Yeah, there's a remote control truck that like curb stomps a guy to death, and it's insane. Well, the picture that you made, that's the little truck with the brains
that's what I was thinking. I was like, when I was making that like graphic, I was like, okay, how does this like little like Tonka truck kill a person? Does it just like
with great enthusiasm?
Go like straight up the pooper, like just go like right up there, like almost like Ant-Man and Thanos, just sort of. I don't know, man. It's I mean, we said at the beginning, like Josh and I have been like busy with like the North American Indigenous games, so it's just like I do want to be like active like in this podcast, but it's just like times I was like, man, I just want to fucking watch Bar Rescue or play fucking World of Warcraft right now.
Yeah, you're fucking deep in the World of Warcraft,
man. Yeah, I'm deep in World of Warcraft. It just shuts my brain off. I put like YouTube essays on, like video essays, all about Christian for some reason.
Oh, getting into the Christery. That's
I'm
what they call it. Apparently,
man.
I'm not a fan. I'm not like a person who's deep into this, but yeah, apparently they call it Christery.
I'm a huge Christographer. Let's just say.
Oh God.
So 10 years ago, I did a huge deep dive because I fell down that rabbit hole hard, and I can't again. I can't. It's too much. I can't.
It's too much. You know he fucked his mom, right?
I do. I wish I didn't know that.
The proper term is raped.
That is true. That is true.
It was not a consensual relationship with a woman who has dementia.
No.
Let's talk about anything else than Christianity.
Yeah, Nathan, what anything you wanted to bring up about the first three?
I re-listened to them because I like the sound of our voice. I find it nice and melodic. And that's not true. I don't find it melodic, but I do find it fun. So I went back and listened to all three of those episodes. Also, boosts our numbers, right? We got to start somewhere, even if it's just us. Yeah. And I felt like Jaws 2. I think I agree with you that Jaws 2 kind of hit me as my favorite episode of those. Or Jaws 3. Jaws 3 was our second episode.
Nathan, know your own shit.
Yeah, no, I've been exposed. Actually, I've never listened to any of it. And I think that movie is just so the characters in it are just so strangely I don't even know how to describe them, but just all of the little bits that Jaws 3 has to offer really kind of come together. Like the scene in the bar with the my
standoff,
the standoff game. Is my fly open? No, he just says my fly is open. Yeah, that movie just had a lot to offer, I think, for that. Chopping Mall is still my favorite, though, of the movies that we did, our first movies that we've done. Really, really looking forward to our next film that we have already done.
Daughters of Darkness.
Daughters of Darkness. Yeah, that was the first and not only Gabby submission. It is wild and fun. So I think there's a lot there. But I don't think too much on the rewind yet. We'll have to wait until people start actualing us so we can issue corrections and apologies. I want to do one of those YouTube ones where it's just like it's a picture of me and I got the single tear and it's just like the I'm sorry video, right? The please don't cancel me.
You have to have it well lit. You have to have a white background
or in black and white.
You have to wear like a white shirt, like what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I'm already practicing. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And then you just gotta cry like a crocodile tear and be like,
yes,
I'm so sorry I ran over like 50 children. It was not my intention to, I was just in a place and it's actually not my fault.
Yeah. And I'll be apologizing for the video cult NFTs that I made that turned out to be an immediate rug pull. There was no way we could have known.
The people would copy and paste. Yeah. So I think the only thing that stood out to me of that I wanted to mention in the episode was for Trucks. And it was, I had found a review for Trucks that came out when the movie came out that was a guy saying, look, this movie's bad, but it's the kind of thing. And he's saying it with such disdain. He's like, this is the kind of movie that in 20 years, some nerds are going to break down on the internet and find some deeper meaning in. And I was like, oh no, he's talking about us.
Shots fired.
I don't know you two. I'm a fucking Chad. Okay. I'm a Chad. I'm not a nerd. Okay. Like you two cucks.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah. Get ready, listeners. Ready. There's going to be a lot more of that where we're going.
Yep.
Oh man.
All right.
So what are we at? We're at 1 hour and 13 minutes into this. Do we want to keep going? Is there anything else that we want to talk about? Do you think there's anything else that will inspire more stories? Or do we think this is about as long as people want to hear about our fucking
This is probably like 50 minutes longer than people wanted to hear.
Yeah. I think we can kill it now.
Yeah, I think we're in a good place. Yeah, so this is kind of our in-between. I don't know if we've got a name for these episodes yet. They're kind of our intermission episodes. So
it's like our Bible study.
Yeah.
It's our Saturday sermon. It's not the Sunday one that everyone shows up to. There's some religious iconography that we can throw around because I do love that we're supposed to be a cult, but we've adapted some Christianity shit by throwing 666 onto the end.
We did,
things.
I know, because they wouldn't take video cults because it was already taken. So I was like, oh fuck it, 666.
No.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So you'll hear these episodes in between the movie breakdown episodes, and this kind of gives us a chance to chat and have some fun with stuff we can't do in the normal episodes, because otherwise those would be 3-hour episodes.
Yeah, we somehow managed to talk longer than every movie, despite really only breaking down the plot and occasionally getting into an aside story or whatever. But I think this is a good venting area for in between.
It also gives like our listeners a chance to look at our faces.
Yeah, sorry.
That's true too.
Yeah.
We probably look how they thought we look, except probably. I don't know. Well, actually, we're like probably like 200 pounds skinnier than they thought. Like we all like, based on podcast things.
Yeah, check your prejudice. Come on.
Yeah. Podcasters are allowed to weigh 130 pounds. It's fine.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably. I've always been told I have a face for radio, so there you go.
All right, so this is Wednesday that this has come out. If you're listening to it on the day, will always be a Wednesday release. The next episode is Daughters of Darkness. Do we remember where it is? Because I can check very quickly right now. But if you guys remember, shout it out. I feel like it was on the Internet Archive again.
I watched it on Internet Archive, I believe. Yeah,
I watched it. I watched mine on my friend's Criterion Collection account. The Criterion channel. It's great. That's where I'm going to watch Come and See later with a friend of mine, where we're going to have a watching party of like this extremely stressful and horrific war movie called Come and See. And we're going to watch it.
Oh,
and then,
yeah. It's the Russian one, right?
It
was like made in Russia. It's Belarus. Okay, yeah. So yeah, and it's like, is it World War II or something like that?
It is World War II.
It's
horrific.
Yeah, it's apparently very disturbing. Yeah.
I think I'm going to come back with like extremely changed.
Yeah, your own version of PTSD.
Yeah.
So let's see. So you're right. I'm just watches our friend here at the podcast. So the Criterion channel is one. Shudder also has it. So if you have Shudder on Prime or Shudder by itself, and then AMC, which is also like a thing you can add on to Prime. So all of those have it, but then Internet Archive has it for free. So there you go. So if you want to get the heads up and watch the movie before we talk about it for longer for over 2 hours, definitely recommend it. It's worth watching.
I think we recommend that everyone at least watches once, like the movies that we talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
Or at least maybe read the synopsis.
We haven't come across something yet that I would say don't watch. Like I have said in those episodes, I'm like, yeah, Jaws 3D, you could do your laundry while you have this movie on. You probably won't miss much. It's sort of I don't know. Maybe that's just me. There's something comforting about that movie, and I think it's because most of it is just weird interpersonal drama and not shark attacks. But always check out the movies. We're talking about them because they're worth talking about and they're worth watching. So.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Let's go. Let's leave.
Yeah.
All right.
Endings are hard.
Yep. See you later.
See ya.